Hello, friends. So 2023 is here, and last year for 2022, I had a long list, a long TBR list, and I knew that it was ambitious. I knew that it was be really tough to read all the books I wanted to read. It was a little tougher than I thought it would be, and not really because it was too many books. I think it's because I'm easily distracted and have very little self control when it comes to reading books. So, what I did was I added a couple of things to this year's TBR, but most of it is from last year. So, I'm going to take a lot of what was on last year's list and just move it on over to this year. Now, look, these change pretty quick. I think this is more of just kind of this is what I hope will happen, but chances are by the time this video is posted on YouTube, I'm going to have different plans. So, I know that who knows if this will stick. I mean, because there's so many books, there's so many group reads, and a year long group read can start spur of the moment sometimes, and you end up committing to a year long 10 book series, like we're about to talk about in a minute. So these plans change pretty quick. But this is just more for fun. I think this is what I hope to finish before the end of the year, and I am doing a little bit better about staying uh, not not over committing. So there's that. So let's start with the ongoing series that I am currently in the middle of that will carry into 2023 from 2022. So the first one is one that we started many months ago, which is Malazan. Now, Malazan was high on my priority list for 2022, and I think that this has worked out pretty well. I've gotten through 4 books in a year, and we did take a break after book 3, but we are back to doing a part by part discussion. So we are breaking it up into pieces from here on out, and we've been having some great discussions. So if anyone out there is reading, we are moving on to Midnight Tides next in January, and we're breaking it down month by month. Any of the stuff I talk about, of the meetups or the group reads and stuff, it's all on our forums on pagechewing.com. So if you are wanting to join us, anyone's welcome to join any of the stuff I talk about. Just drop by. That's where we organize and plan all of our shenanigans. So Malazan, we are continuing with Malazan. I don't know that I'll finish it this year, all 10 books, but maybe. But I'm gonna just not I'm gonna not rush through that one. It's just gonna be as it happens. So that'll happen. It'll be ongoing through 2023. The next one is The Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. We are halfway through that one, and we will continue to work through that. We are discussing the third book, The Veiled Throne, in January. And then after that, we will plan a discussion for the fourth book. That discussion for the fourth book will be with author Ken Liu again. He will be joining us for another discussion. So that's discussing Wall of Storms with him was one of the highlights of 2022 for me. I mean, there's so many highlights, but that was one of them because just blew my mind. So that's the second one. The next one is The Prince of Nothing. Actually, we're in the Aspect Emperor series now, the second apocalypse. So we are continuing to do about 100 pages a week on the podcast. I'm doing that with my friends Katarina and Daniel. We meet every Friday to discuss about 100 pages. So we just finished book 1 of the Judge and I. We just finished the Judge and I. So we'll move into book 2 in that series. So that'll take us a while because we're doing it pretty slow, and it's a nice steady pace. So I'm really happy the way that's all worked out. The next one is The Expanse. We are reading the Expanse series. I'm reading that with our friend Robin from Bookends and Biscuits, Layla and Chris Moen. So we have a great group. We have a great. I always look forward to chatting with those three. We have some great conversations. It's kind of like hanging out with friends that you see once in a while that you get to kind of come over and, have some tea and just chat. It's more of just an excuse to kind of get together, because The Expanse is cool and everything, but the reason that what brings us back is the people. And that's what drives all this stuff is more of just like the camaraderie and the discussions and the conversations. That's what, that's kind of what keeps us coming back, isn't it? So those are the ones that we have ongoing right now. So next, we'll talk about some new series that I will be starting. These are on the calendar. These are going to happen. These are planned. There's a few series and a few standalones that we're having discussions for. These are in stone, planned, happening for sure. The first one is A Song of Ice and Fire. We are starting that in January. We're probably do about a book a month, give or take. We'll see how it goes. But we are starting that group read in January. The first one's in the middle of January, I think, for Game of Thrones. So the first book we're starting in January. The something I want to get into this year more is comics or graphic novels, if you will. So, and also manga. So this year I am reading Berserk. I'm starting Berserk. I have the first volume. It's happening. So we're thinking January or February. It's kind of a chunker. So I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but it is happening. We don't have a date yet, but damn it, it's happening. I want this to happen. I also plan to read other books. There's a thread on our forums. I'll leave a link down below for some books that I have my eye on some arcs, some, some more of just like classics and indies that I hope to read in the year of 2023. I hope to give myself more room to do things like that, to read comics and read manga and kind of veer off a little bit. So another one that is on the calendar is The Purple Prince. We were discussing that in February. I think the first week in February. All this stuff, like I said, is on the calendar if I forget because I didn't have it written down. The next one is The Children of Gods and Fighting Men by Shauna Lawless. We are meeting with Shauna Lawless in the month of February to discuss that book. Looking forward to that one as well. The 11th Cycle by Kian N. Ardalan. We are going to be discussing that book in January with Kian. So that's another one that it's a chunker, and I'm reading it now, but I'm looking forward to that one very much. Another one that we're discussing with the author is I Will Kill You by Halo Scott. We were meeting with Halo in February to discuss that one. So I always love chatting with Halo. It's always a great time. So really looking forward to that one too. We are continuing with the Drowned Kingdom. We will be doing a deep dive for the second book, The Last of the Atlanteans with P.L. Stewart and the same group we did the last one with. That'll happen in February 2. I can't say February, apparently. So the big series that we're starting, the big project that we're starting in 2023 that I am very excited about, it's hard. And the hardest part is to not start now, is we are starting the Wars of Light and Shadow series by Johnny Wirtz. And Janny is going to be meeting with us after each book. We are starting in the middle of April for that. And I'm not sure how far between each book we're going to take. I think we'll get through the first one. We're planning the first one in April. After we discuss the book, the people who are involved will sit down and we'll figure out, okay, how long do we need for book 2? And it won't be too long of a time period, but I don't want anyone to feel like they have to hurry and get things done. So we'll decide from there. We'll kind of gauge how long it took us for the first one and see how things go from there. So let's move on to some other things that I would like to finish in 2023 that are priority reads. We don't have these on the calendar yet. We don't have them planned. Of course, it goes without saying, anyone who wants to read any of these with me, get in touch and we will plan something to get together and discuss them. So the first book, and like I said, a lot of these, almost all of them are from last year that I just didn't get to. So I'm carrying them over, moving them over, bringing them with me into the new year. The first one is Split Paths. It's the second book in the Fall of Emros by Thomas J. Devins. I'm going to be finishing that one. Not sure when, like I said, but it is going to happen before the third book is released. I will get that done before the third book. The next one is Children by Bjorn Larson. That's another one that was on my list, and I want to read it. I just haven't gotten to it yet. The next one is Chaos Reigns, Oath Broken by Jay Smith. That's another one that I'm carrying over. Another one is The Terror by Dan Simmons. This one I've heard, of course, you hear so much about it, but it's on the shelf staring at me. That big chunk of a book doesn't let me forget that it's still waiting to be read. The next one is The Rape of Non-King. This is one, like I said, again, from last year. It's on the shelf. The next one is a series. It's The Making of Gabriel Davenport by Beverly Lee. I want to get through that series so I can start on Beverly Lee and Nicole Eisner's collaboration Crimson. So I really want to get through that one so I can start on Crimson. And just because it sounds spectacular, it's another, like I said, it's another one. It's just, the next one is one I cannot keep off this list. It's a new one. It has to be on this list. I can't not have this one on the list. I feel bad that I haven't read it yet, which is A Touch of Light by Thiago Abdallah. So that's on the list. That's a priority. That's going to happen February, March, I hope. January is insane for me. January is nuts. I just have to get through January and I should be okay. So it's one that I just have to get through the month and then I'll be okay. Then I'll have lots of room to do other things. I have lots of things planned for 2023, by the way. Lots of things I want to announce, but I can't yet. Some of you may know what I'm talking about, but eventually we'll talk about it when it's ready. So the next one is, I can't pronounce it, but is Norskala Groans by Michael R. Fletcher and Clayton Snyder. It's a collaboration project. It's another one, no excuses. It's on the list. It's high priority. The next one is Matterhorn by Carl Marlantes. I think it's a Vietnam story from, like a perspective of people that either served or were in Vietnam during the war. And I actually heard about this book from Crystal Matar. She referenced this during one of our discussions. That was a book that she was really inspired by, that really made her think. So it's, when I heard Crystal talk about it, it's like, okay, it's on the list. It's going on. The next one is a book in a series from last year that, again, mea culpa, I haven't gotten to these, is Escaping First Contact by T.S. Beer. Or you also know her as Tina from Red Fury Books. So it's on YouTube. I will link her channel down below, but be sure and check it out. Great reviews. I love the way that she presents her reviews and how she talks about the book, doesn't spoil anything, and gives her perspective. It's nice hearing an author's perspective in that sense, in that kind of review format. Now, the next two are new entries, I believe. I don't think these were on the list. I don't think one of these was even released last year. So I think they're both new. They are both by the same author, who is Brian Bowyer. I'm sorry, Brian. I always butcher your name. The first one is Road and Arrows. That's high on my list. It's on the shelf behind me on the top shelf saying, read me, damn you. The other one is Escaping and Rising from Addiction. So that is both of those. Really want to get to sooner rather than later, I hope. The next one is one from last year, which is Wolf Eater by Anthony Mitchell. Another one I hear tons about. I just haven't, but it's happening this year, I hope. The next one is one that I hope to read with Yolene. The one thing with Yolene, I'm trying really hard to not pressure her into any more group reads, because I feel like I pressure her into a lot of group reads. So I'm being really careful to not push any group reads on her, but I hope we can read this one together. It is The Steel Remains by Richard K. Morgan, and I hope we start that this year sometime. No pressure, but when she's ready, that will happen. Now, speaking of Yolene, there's another book I will be group reading with her this year. We have this one planned for at some point. I think we're thinking March. Is The Traitor Baru Cormont by Seth Dickinson. That's one that we were planning on reading together, the whole series. So hopefully, no pressure, Yolene. When it happens, it happens. Another one that I hope to read with Chris Moen is a book that he actually gifted me for Christmas, which is Heresy Within by Rob J. Hayes. So another one that hope to read with Chris when we can manage it. Again, no pressure. The next one is one from last year, which is Timberwolf by Dominic Adler. That's one that I read the synopsis for it, and it sounds like it's right up my alley. It sounds like it would be something I really would enjoy. Speaking of books, I think I'm really going to enjoy, because I saw Slowly Red's review of it, which is A Congregation of Jackals by S. Craig Zoller. That's it's not a very thick book either, but it's going to happen this year. And the next book is a very thick book. It is a big one. It is a big book. And another one that I'm a little bit embarrassed I haven't read it yet, because everyone raves about it. Everyone loves it. And Crystal is awesome. So I should have read this sooner, but it is Legacy of the Brightwash. So that will happen this year. Another one that another one of Rob J. Hayes' books is Along the Razor's Edge. That's another one on the list that I will be getting to this year. Another carryover, Burn Red Skies by Kirsten Espinosa Rosero. That is on the list as well. Last year I got a list of a bunch of Spiffbo books, and I just added them to the list, and I just wanted to get through them. Like I said, it's hard sometimes to get. I'm not the fastest reader. I can't finish 30 books in a month. I finish 4 or 5 maybe. So, and if you do the math, the list I've already given you is probably more than that. But let's just not talk about it. Let's just forget that. Let's not acknowledge that. Another one. The next one is a series. It's called The Rider and the Throne by C.T. Ortega, and that is one that is a carryover from last year. And the last one is a series that is another carryover. I have read the first book, but I want to reread it because it's been almost 2 years since I've read it. So I want to refresh it, go in fresh again from page 1, book 1, and that is Chasing Graves by Ben Galley. And I hope to read that hopefully with someone. Someone wants to read with me, or again, any of these, I'm open. And what's funny is I thought, okay, I'll carry over a lot of my leftovers from last year, and I'll add a couple, and I should be good. And now looking at the list, there's a lot of books on this list, and we all know how easily distracted we get. Actually, last year I didn't do too bad. I think my ambition, I was way more ambitious last year, but I did make a sizable dent. I think I'm when I start a series, I like to finish it unless I'm really not enjoying it. Like there was a couple of series this year that I just didn't finish because I didn't enjoy it. But when I do enjoy them, I like to finish the series if it's published. I don't stop. I keep going. So I don't like to leave them unfinished. It irritates me. It gets my OCD going. So those are my plans. Like I said, by the time you see this, my plans may have changed, but I think bringing them over from last year, there's still books I want to read, and I feel really bad I haven't gotten to them yet, but it's tough to keep up. It's really tough. But like I said, I'm going to be reading more comics, more manga. Things are going to open up a lot more, and I know this sounds like a lot, but I hope to have a little bit more room to maneuver. A lot of the series that we are going into 2023 with will be done, will be wrapped up in a few months, and then my schedule will open up a lot more, and I hope to leave myself a little bit more flexibility and not plan too close together. So I think I said the same thing last year. We'll see how it goes. So thanks for coming by and watching and hearing about my overly ambitious goals. That okay, let's do this. Who thinks that I will read all the books on this list? If you do, comment down below. If you don't, comment down below. If you don't think so, I won't be offended. Just let's comment, and then if I'm still here next year, if I'm still doing the YouTube thing, we'll go through the comments and we'll see who was right, who was wrong, and we'll do something fun for those of you who are still around. If I'm still around, if you're still around, we'll do something fun. I don't know what that is, but we'll figure something out. We'll do something fun. We have a year to think about it. So comment down below if you think I will make it. If you don't think I'll make it, give me a percentage. What percentage of this list will I finish? Give me a percentage. 20%, 10%, 5%, 70%, 90%. I don't know. I hope everyone has a great new year. I hope you all achieve all of your goals this year, and I hope everything goes well. Let's bring in 2023 on a good note. And thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you come by and comment and thumbs up and all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. So thank you so much for taking the time to hear me talk about my overly ambitious goals. Until next time, talk to you soon.